Hey there, YouTubers, right? So, another benchmark video. Tried to do this by recording the screen the other day with a 4K camera. Didn't come out very good. It's on my other channel. We're trying this again. At least I'm going to give you the benchmark score that I got before I ran OBS and all the other crap that's on, right? So, two parts to this, really. We're going to show you the scores that I got, okay? Then I'm going to run this again, and I'm going to have HWInfo 64 running, so you can see. I think we'll concentrate on the motherboard if I can find it. Yeah, I want to show you guys the motherboard, and that also shows you the CPU. Well, I guess we can't see everything, so we're going to just see this and the motherboard, okay? So I'm going to show that to you. Now, let's go to Intel XTU so you can see what we're working with. The reason you might be clicking on this, you might be interested in putting an i5 12600K into one of the H610Ms that are out there. In this case, it's the Asus Prime H610m-ED4. D4 means DDR4 RAM. M, of course, means micro ATX size motherboard. I don't believe, at least for now, there is a full-size ATX H610 out there. So there is this H610i, which would be ITX size. But this is you know, pretty damn cheap motherboard. Cost me 90 bucks, 100 bucks, whatever. Doesn't have a lot of features. VRM is, you know, something to wonder about. But, you know, is it a good match for this CPU? Not really if you want to get everything you can get out of it, but it does work. It is one of the mini CPUs that it says is compatible to even include the i9 12900K. So let's look at the benchmarks that I got, and then we're going to run some of these benchmarks, like I said, with HWInfo. So let's start with the one I have open so I can close it. In here you see this score. The light orange is the most recent one, 15,913. So where does that fall, folks? Let's go to this guy's site. Hopefully they don't mind me using it. R23, 17,666. This is with a Z690, okay? This is about what I got without, you know, doing anything to it, I think. I don't even know if I had power limits on, but that was about the score I had. So you can see quite a drop off. Now this other score, this is on this motherboard. After me doing some, we'll say, optimization, we got a little bit more out of it, okay? So it is possible to do a little better than what I just got if you screw around with stuff. Now, that's R23, and that was multi-core. I'm not going to do single core. Let's look at, I did screenshots of these other ones just because I shut them down. Okay, so XTU 5917. This is, you know, 5800, 5900, or yeah, 5800 to 5900 range. You can see max processor frequency 4.51, got up to 72 degrees Celsius. Now, I do have a Noctua 120 millimeter CPU cooler, single tower, single fan. What is it? NHU12S, something like that is the part number for it. Pretty effective, you know. Obviously, the NHU14S, which is 140 millimeter, would be just a little bit better. But, you know, I'm not going to waste the money on this CPU for that. And definitely not in this motherboard. You will need an upgraded CPU cooler, folks, if you're going to do this, though. Don't think you're going to get away with using a crappy Intel stock cooler from, you know, another CPU, one of the lock processors in 12th gen. It's not going to work. And definitely not LGA 1151. All right, so that's what we got there. Let us see what else. You guys saw that one. R20. Here's what I got on R20. The last run, 6580. How does that compare to what this guy's got? What did I just say? It's sad when you forget. 6580. And he got 6702. This is a Z690, so not a huge drop off on this one, folks. That's actually pretty awesome. Now, obviously, what's the difference, right? Z690, I could overclock it. I could blow the score up. Maybe even I pick a motherboard that's better than this. It has the ability to change the block frequency, and depending on what that motherboard is, you could get quite a bit more out of it. So this motherboard has limitations, but somebody asked me, hey, should I get this motherboard kind of like a stopgap, right? He wanted to get eventually a better motherboard, and I'm like, dude, if you want to throw away $100, go for it. I don't know what the resale value on eBay is for this thing. I'm sure it's probably $80. Then you sell it for 80, and you lose, what is it, 20-30% fees on eBay. So now suddenly you've just pretty much thrown away half of the money. All right, so there's our scores. Enough of me yapping. Let's get to something here. I'm going to do this one. Let me refresh this. Or excuse me, let me clear it. So we'll leave this up, and then we'll have this guy going. All right. So you guys can see motherboard temp, CPU temp, PCH, which is related to VRM. This one doesn't have the sensor that specifically says VRM on it. Which would be nice. It'd be nice if all these motherboards had that. Then you could really compare them easily. One of my videos, I actually give the temperatures that the VRM see, but it's not happening in this one. Let's see. So that was too fast to do it anyways. So you see there 4.51 gigahertz, 69, so a little cooler, right? But why is that? Because we have OBS going. And so these numbers, they're close, right? They're not exact. Now, with a good Z690, you're going to pull a lot more watts, but the mere fact that our benchmarks are really not that far off, maybe it's not worth wasting all that extra electricity. All right, so let's close this. Oh, you know what? So you guys saw this screen, right? This was one of the things I screwed around with. I don't know that it does anything, but unless you got a unlocked processor in a Z690. Here's the cores, and we do have power limits supposedly set to unlimited, which is done in the BIOS, I believe, but I don't honestly think it went to unlimited. So we'll close that. We can figure out what we're doing. So, hey, if this is, useful for you, please give it a like. Consider subscribing. If there's something you think I should do better, like get a capture card, yeah, we need to do that eventually. All right, so let's close these things. Now, actually, we'll leave them open. All right, so there's the last score, 6580. This is with OBS on, me yapping, and HWInfo going, okay? I should be recording in 4K, so if you have a 4K monitor, that would be ideal to review this because you may not be able to read it otherwise. I don't know. See the temperature getting up on the CPU. This temperature in this software, in case you're not familiar, is usually higher than XTU. I can't remember an instance where it wasn't. You see we're at 73 degrees. The motherboard's pretty chill. So I'm looking at CPU package up here. 77, 76. You see the power limits don't change. According to this, they're set to the limit. That's interesting. Now, is there another spot on here, folks, that you can actually read Current power. Oh yeah, we missed it right there. So hopefully you were paying attention. If you were paying attention, rewind. Average max. So there's your maxes right there. And unfortunately, unless I close this, let's see, I thought there was a refresh in here. Reset. There we go. Boom. Let's do that again. It was so fast. So you see where we are for package power. Let's hit this again. And then we should see new numbers. Get this out of the way. 40 watts. So it should get up there to 126 so far. Max temp so far 76. Now one thing I did not do, folks, was let the CPU cool down. So, you know, when that happens, performance usually drops off. So we had 6528, which wasn't too far off of where we were. But obviously we need to probably let it cool off a little bit more. 6571, so OBS had barely any effect on it. All right, I'm going to close this. And I'm going to run Cinebench R23. So what happens here is I'm going to run this and I'm going to disappear because this takes forever. So you figure in about 11 minutes you'll see a score. Assuming this doesn't lock up, I may have to hit start again to see the actual score. But then we'll get HWInfo 64 up on the screen. And then this video may last, you know, 20 more minutes. It depends on when I actually come back and stop recording. But all right, let's do this. And let me reset this. I should have reset it already. Okay, there you go. So I'll be back, folks. All right, we're back. A little late than ever. So you can see what the score was, 15,955, which is higher than it was with OBS off. So go figure. Not that far off though. Hey, thanks for checking out the video. Hope you got something out of it. Please like, please subscribe. Thank you.